All right, launching a new coaching offer with ads. The goal has been to spend about $50K in a 3-week period, and I'm going to document the results. So it's nearly go time. We're nearly coming to the end right now. I'm filming this on a Wednesday morning. The first day of the launch officially starts on the 8th. So we're a couple of days away. We've kind of hit our peak right now. Overall numbers for the campaign so far is that we've spent $33,000 on registration ads, getting people to register for the live event. We've got 4,900 leads. So that's a average cost per lead of $6.73. Again, we're a bit above KPI that I wanted. First, it was like $5. Then I was like, okay, maybe $6. We're probably realistically going to sit around the $6 to $7 mark, which at the end of the day, in the most competitive market, in kind of like online business, is still not that bad, and we'll still project to make money for the client. This is a new offer though that we haven't necessarily sold with this client before, and we're doing it in a slightly different way. So it's not necessarily something I would recommend where you're changing the variables of the offer and the way you sell the offer, but it is what it is. So, I've trust in the client that we are going to make some good money. The lead cost is really good compared to, other people running different campaigns. And again, with the competitiveness of this niche, I think we're in a really good spot. Would have liked it a little bit lower, but hey, that is what it is. So right now, we're going to project to spend, I believe, about we're about 3,700 right now. So if we spend this for the next few days, we'll hit our target of 48K in registration ads. And that leaves us about $2,000 for reminder ads and any sales ads that we run. Right now, we're spending about $100 a day on reminder ads, just being like, hey, the event starts on Friday, blah, blah, blah. And basically pushing people to join the Facebook group. So we don't need to necessarily spend anymore. I just need to make the campaigns a little bit more efficient. So if we look at the ad account then, let's have a look. So I filtered on, let's grab this over here. I have, basically, you see from the last video, quite a lot has changed this past week. It's been a super busy week with not just this launch, but other stuff going on. But essentially, we've killed a lot of the campaigns that weren't working. And right now you can see that we have you can see, but we have these 5 campaigns doing pretty well. Considering, these are both spending $750 a day right now. This one getting a cost per lead of $6.87 is pretty good. And then this one as well to $8.36 is pretty good. This one is not so good. This is targeting the US, 500 a day. I'm in 2 minds of whether to turn this off. If we kind of look at how it's been since the start of the month, it's gone from $9.87 to $13, 12, 10, and then kind of like today, I believe this is still the 5th though, which for me it's the 6th, I believe. So yeah, it looks like the cost per lead is going to end up pretty high on this one. I probably will turn this off. I just need to figure out where I'm going to allocate this extra 500 in ad spend. So if I'm looking at it right now, I'm probably looking at this one. And I'm thinking, well, if this one has been performing pretty well, it's gone from 824. I increased the budget on this day to 7. Then I kept the budget the same to 7. We've just crossed over the day mark. So if we look at yesterday, 600. So it's 7. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably kill this, and then I'll probably allocate the budget evenly between these 2 top campaigns. Because this campaign, just FYI, even though it's the lowest cost per lead, it's not just US, it's some other T1 countries, which is like tier 1 advertising countries. So I don't want to chuck a lot of budget behind that, because we do know that most of our customers do come from the US and Canada. So I'd probably allocate it between these 2 campaigns, and maybe I'll just change this up to 1,000 a day, put this up to 750, and probably kill this. Because realistically, these 2 campaigns, They might go up to $9. They might even go up to $10 cost per lead, but it's still going to be better than, $11.84. And this campaign has been running, if we see right now, this campaign has spent 4.2K. Traditionally it's been pretty good, right? $8.67. But just this month, if we look at last month, it was $7.42. This month, $11.84. So just since the turn of the month, it's not been good. If we look at last month, what I probably will do, looking at this data, I think basically I kind of messed it up when I added in. I think I thought that turning these two off, we'd get this to optimize a little bit more, and I'll bring down the cost per lead. And if we look at that for this month, that hasn't happened. This cost per lead has just gone way up. And I added in these two, and realistically, look, like these two have only spent, $100.36, so it's hardly getting any of the spend. But that cost per lead is way out of whack. Whereas, and again, this is kind of a lesson for this launch, maybe if I'd have just left these on, maybe the cost per lead would be better. I think potentially what I'm going to do right now is maybe what I'll do is turn these two off, turn the other two back on, and just see how that performs for the rest of today. If for the rest of today, which is Wednesday, and I wake up tomorrow and the performance doesn't look very promising, maybe I'll just turn the whole campaign off, and I will I'll allocate the budget evenly between the other campaigns. I think that's what I'll do. I know I'm kind of like figuring this out in real time, but I suppose that's the point of doing, these kind of videos. So what I'm going to do right now, let's just see, and I'll come back and document if this has worked or not. I'll turn these two on. Say we're getting a decent cost per lead last month. I'm going to turn these two off, and we'll see. So for this month right now, this is at 11.84, which is not good. So let's see what the performance on the 6th of November brings. And if not, I'll allocate the budget towards some other stuff. Right now, this is a warm campaign, so this is why this is the cheapest cost per lead. We've been allocating a little bit more budget to this warm campaign over the last couple of days. Obviously, this is going to get the cheapest cost per lead because it's from the kind of warm audience, from the social media retargeting people. I don't want like a huge percentage of the budget to be just retargeting campaigns, because at the end of the day, these clients hire us to convert a cold audience. So I do typically want like 90+% of the budget to be towards cold audiences. That being said, if your client has like a warm audience, then I suppose it would be a good idea to utilize it. So the cost per lead is staying pretty strong, and we've not got like a crazy frequency. If we look at some of the frequency across the actual retargeting campaigns, it's only some of these that we've actually turned off that are pretty high, because these were like smaller retargeting audiences. If we look at the stuff that we're spending a lot of money on, we're only hitting like a 1.9 frequency, which for a retargeting audience really isn't that big whatsoever. So that's why we made the decision, well, you know what, we could probably just pump more budget into here, because at the end of the day, if we look at the numbers, if we look at here, even with this one, right, a $9 cost per lead, it's because this audience is kind of small. You can see the CPM is a lot higher than the other stuff, 28 versus like 16 and 18. But in my eyes, like a $9 cost per lead from this warm audience, this is going to be a more valuable lead versus an $8 lead from this one. Well, that's how I see it in my mind. If they're already part of their audience, they're already aware of the brand, they already have a relationship with the client, then usually would see that convert a little bit higher. So that's kind of like the decision I made. So we'll probably end up spending about 10 to 12, well, definitely over 10% because it's already at 5K. We'll probably end up we'll probably end up spending about 12% of the ad budget on retargeting, which is a little bit higher than what we typically want. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm here to make the client money. So whatever makes the most money is my biggest priority. And if it means leaning into the retargeting audience a little bit more, then that is what we'll do. So that's kind of like what we've done to kind of keep the overall cost per lead fairly low, as well as obviously leaning more into the retargeting. This is super low right now because last month we were targeting kind of more of worldwide, but we've turned all of those campaigns off, which is why now we're just targeting like US, Canada, and T1 countries, and that's why the cost per lead is at like $5 for this month. So that's that. So I know I'm jumping around a bit. So that's what we're basically doing with the warm campaign. These two scaling campaigns, they are, I've already talked about what I'm going to do with those. Now I want to look at this top campaign up here. So this is going to an application form. So all of our ads up until this point, they have been going to the Facebook lead form that is native inside of Facebook. Now, we were getting like a few comments on the ad saying like, hey, it's not working, the button's not working. And I did see quite a dramatic drop in the lead form conversion. So if we see here, and again, ignore this because this was more retargeting stuff when we first started, but it seemed that the average was kind of around like 30%-ish in terms of the conversion on the lead form. For the last few weeks, it's just dropped a little bit more, and that will happen as you spend more money. You go to like less qualified people. Facebook is trying to figure out like more and more people who like your offer. So you are definitely going to get like a lower conversion rate, but it did drop to like 22 on one day, which I'm like, I don't know if I trust this. So, and I was always going to run this test anyway. I basically started running, and this is going to like a ClickFunnels page, which has the application form on the ClickFunnels page. It's got like 3 questions in it, and they basically apply to become part of the program / like the live event. And this is like the free 11-day program that we're promoting. So overall, if we compare these two, because these are basically the same ads. So we basically duplicated this one and we put it into a lead form. So honestly, the results are pretty similar. This is a little bit higher cost per lead. But what's interesting is the CPM is dramatically different. The CPM on this one is double, which is, they're both targeting the US. So you can see when you do lead form ads, the CPM is much cheaper. So Facebook does prefer it. They do give you cheaper impressions. And you can see the difference there in the cost per click. But if we look at, one second, if we do some like math in real time, if we look at 344 divided by 1829, this form for this campaign's got an 18% completion rate. If we do 1119 divided by 408, you can see this has got a 29% conversion rate. So I don't know if that is just that people don't like inputting their data directly into Facebook because they've got trust issues, or there's something technically broken with the form. But you can see here that, and that's the first time I've done that calculation. I knew it was higher, but that was something I was going to do after this video. I just wanted to film the video. But you can see that's a dramatic increase. Like it's pretty much like like a 30% increase in conversion. So what I actually did do this morning just before this call is I duplicated one of our warm campaigns, and this one up here, which has a $200 a day budget. This is basically targeting the same audience that this has, but it's going to the application form. So I think one thing I could probably do is if I turn this one off, maybe instead of putting the $500 towards like spreading it out equally, maybe I could launch another campaign going directly to the application form. Maybe I duplicate this one and put it to the application form, because it looks like the conversions are, much better. I mean, at the end of the day, the cost per click is more expensive, so the leads are coming in very similar. If we're comparing these two right now. But if we look at the trajectory, I think I only launched this yesterday on the 4th, so on Monday. Yeah, so it was 824, obviously nothing. Started off at $9, continued at $9. Huh? How does that work? Don't know if that data is correct. How can it go from 9 to 918? Is that the same cost per lead? I think it's still just like updating a little bit. Anyway, or maybe I'm just being an idiot, but if we look at this data, it's pretty similar. Maybe because this is targeting the US, maybe if I was to duplicate this T1 campaign here, their CPMs would be much cheaper, and maybe it would work out where the cost per lead would be cheaper. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the cost per lead. It doesn't matter what the lead form conversion rate is. Obviously, it evens it out because the cost per click on the application form campaign is much higher, but it's interesting to see that data. So I don't know. I'm in two minds what I'll do. I'm pretty sure I'll probably turn this one off. I'll obviously see what the data says today, and then I'll either decide to either allocate it between the current campaigns or maybe launch a new one with an application form, as the conversions on that form seem to be much higher. So that's what's going through my mind right now. But again, we're in a pretty good position. We're not going to have to desperately scale or chuck budget behind campaigns that aren't working. We're in a pretty good spot, so I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. And what we'll basically do as well is we don't have to necessarily spend the 48K by Friday. So if we do this, we could leave. I could actually spend less money. What I could probably do is just turn this one off. If we go for this month, I could probably just leave this $500, probably spend 3K for the next few days, and that'll leave me 3K left to spend after the event starts. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes we leave our best campaigns running even after the live event has started, because sometimes people can join on day 2 or day 3 or day 4. And once they kind of join the group, there's all the lessons there. They see all the hype, they see all the energy. It actually increases their commitment to actually participate in the program because there's a load of proof that it's already happened. So we always leave some campaigns running. So that is even another option there. I'll look at what the results are for today, but I could even just turn this off completely and just let these run with the current budget. And then I'll probably leave, this campaign on, or even some of the warm campaigns on for the first 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And that will get us to the 48K mark. So that's kind of the game plan. I'll make some decisions on that probably tomorrow morning. Now I've already made some changes today. And then I might do another video on the last day or on Friday before the launch happens. And then after that, I will document kind of how the launch goes, how the conversion's going. We're going to be selling on day 5 of the 11-day program. So what's that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So Tuesday next week is when we're going to be selling. So I'll probably do another video on Friday, the last day of kind of the scaling of the campaigns. And then I'll do another video maybe on Tuesday or the Wednesday, updating with the initial results. And then I'll do another video at the end of the launch with kind of the final numbers. And hopefully we'll have some good return on ad spend. So yeah, that's it. That's the game plan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.